Welcome to another breathwork session. Today we'll go into a little bit about the breathing and how it relates to the spine. First, we'll do some experiential practice of understanding what the breath is doing and how the breath relates to the spine. And then we'll get into some, I think the word is didactic content about what the spine is, why do we have a spine. So find a comfortable seat, comfortable stance. You can lie down, doesn't really matter what you do. And as always, you don't have to do any of this. There's nothing really special to do. So with that, just start to pay attention to the breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, making the exhale longer than the inhale. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Now on this next inhale, feel what happens to your spine as you inhale. So inhaling, noticing if there's any movement associated with the breath in the spine. Maybe some pulling apart, maybe some bringing together. Find out for yourself what happens to the spine as you inhale and as you exhale. What is the difference the breath does to your spine as you inhale and exhale? So paying attention to the inhales and the exhale and the motion of the spine without trying to make any motion in the spine, just noticing what movement exists already in the spine as we inhale and exhale. Might be a very subtle movement. And now I'm going to point out a muscle. It's a main muscle of respiration, muscle of breathing, called the diaphragm. So as you inhale, notice as this muscle in the center of your body descends into the lower belly, giving it a massage. So inhale, feel the muscle descend like an upside down parachute. And then exhale, feeling the parachute come back up into a normal size parachute. So inhale, feeling the movement descend into the lower belly. Exhale, allow it to come back up. So noticing the movement of the diaphragm as you inhale and exhale. So paying attention to the diaphragm, the muscle, as it extends into the lower belly on the inhale and recedes up into the thorax as you exhale, the chest as you exhale. And now if you can, start to notice the relationship between the diaphragm and the spine. So as you inhale, noticing the subtle massage that the diaphragm gives to the inside of the spine. And that was the breathwork part of this. And now we'll go into a little bit of the functional anatomy of the spine. So I'm going to share my screen here. I believe that's shared now. Yeah. So we'll go to the spine. And so if you remember, we were breathing just now, cervical spine is in your neck. Go ahead and feel the cervical spine. And then try to get an understanding of the thoracic spine. So looking at that thoracic spine, and then the lumbar spine, finding the lumbar spine, and then there's the sacrum. And so now, what is the spine? What is it meant for? So the spine, there's a few different reasons that we have a spine. One is to make bend and curved movements. So it's allowed to basically serve as this axis point for all this movement. So just trying to move around in your spine, noticing that change. And then the other reason is it's a canal for nerves. So we got this big central nervous system right here. And the central nervous system actually goes from the brain all the way down into the spine. And then there's the peripheral nervous system, which is the nerves as they enter, as they innervate, what's called innervate the arms, the legs, all the muscles. So that central nervous system is the brain and the spine. And so you got the brain, which is just like the most magnificent tool that has ever been existed in the universe as far as we can tell. It's just this brilliant thing that allows us to move our way through this complicated world and make decisions which other animals can't make the type of decisions. But it's all built in layers off of earlier designs, basically. So, like the basic nervous system that exists in tiny microbes is this sense of self that microbes have, is that as they move through the world, they interact with things, and that changes who they think they are. Then they feed and all these different things. So this magnificent brain has been built layer, and then all interacting together. So we've still got our like primal, these very primal things that take over whenever we're in various dangerous situations. But the thing about being a human being is that we don't really face those as much, at least in the developed world. And I've spent a lot of time in the developing world too. And even in the developing world, we don't really face that many threats to our survival. So getting a little bit off track there, but so we've got this nervous system, and then we got the central nervous system, and then we got the canal that brings those those nervous messages from the outside, from the periphery, to the brain, and then also motor messages. So we move the fingers and the toes and everything else from this brain as well. And so one of the most interesting things that I've found about the spine is that it's got what's called interneurons. So neurons that specifically, like if I touch my finger right here, I'm touching a sensory receptor that feels pressure, and then that sends the nerves all the way to the spine. And then there's what's called an internuncial neuron, which basically takes that information. It only goes up the spine, and then it passes to another set of nerves in the brain. And so this very complex web of nerves all throughout the body. And the spine is the way to basically house that in separate from the rest of the body. So yeah, that's a little bit about the spine. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and let me know if you have any questions or comments. Have a great day.